when I was going to business school, I was hopeful that, I get the opportunity to work abroad, but I wasn't going to business school with the mindset to jackpot. And I'm going to put it out there. And I think that was what also made choosing IESE easy for me, knowing that I may not jackpot. I wasn't going to jackpot. Like, if it came, yes. Like, if...
Fine.
No, let me use the word jackpot. If relocation came as part of my business school package, all well and good, but it wasn't a do or die affair. And I think reaching that point made it easy for me to recalibrate my expectations and recalibrate. Remember, I'm fighting a lot of demons. I could be with a Nigerian and the other Nigerian will have a better outcome just because the Nigerian has a finance background. So the person is not doing a triple jump. So I just needed to understand my peculiarities. Again, this is personal to me. So I doubled down and said, you know what? Let me look to the African continent. It's not like really Africa. I don't mind.
Welcome to a special production of the Business 101 podcast. I am your host, Ayo Oye. This is a limited series, specifically sharing stories and experiences from some of the world's most selective and most prestigious business schools from the lens of recent international graduates. Today, I have the immense honor of welcoming a special guest from one of my favorite business schools, ranked consistently as one of the most prestigious in Europe and the world, IESE Business School at the University of Navarra. My guest today is Kofoworola Toriola, a lawyer turned business strategist and an incoming associate at the Lagos office of the world's most prestigious consulting firm, McKinsey and Company. She is a proud alumna of IESE Business School in Barcelona, where she served as co-president of the Africa Business Club, driving initiatives that spotlighted the continent's potentials. Prior to IESE, she was an associate at a top-tier Nigerian law firm, where she spent over 7 years delivering strategic legal counsel to both local and international clients in the course of her legal career. She holds a law degree from Babcock University and is deeply committed to mentoring the next generation of African professionals. Kofoworola is also an Amazon-published author of Love Notes, and when she's not pretending to be serious, you'll find her indulging in books, ideas, and conversations that spark joy. Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Kofoworola, or as I call her, Kofo. Welcome to the show, Kofo. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me, Ayo. And I don't know whose profile you just read. Doesn't sound like me.
And I feel like I could keep going for. I mean, if I really wanted to do justice to your profile, I probably need to go like another 10 minutes. But wanted to keep it very short. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And Kofo, let's start here. You are a lawyer and a fine lawyer at that. And then you successfully transitioned into business consulting, and not just with any firm, with essentially the most prestigious firm in the business, in the world. And you're also a published author. The first question is, what can you not do? Tell me, what can you not do?
Plenty things. I can't do a lot of things. For instance, I can't turn water to wine.
Have you tried though? You just might. But so good to have you.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you. And it's good to see what you're doing with the podcast, particularly because, we met even before either of us went to business school. So the journey has been like before, and we went through the journey, the ups, the downs, and, here we are on the other side, to the glory of God, laughing and smiling.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm actually hoping that we can relive some of the experience. I don't know if you remember, but we actually met on Discord. Do you remember?
Yes.
Exactly.
GRE Prep, City of Lane.
Actually, City of Lane.
Yes. God bless
Shout
those
out
guys.
to City of Lane.
God bless them. Yeah.
But just before we jump into that conversation, right? Kofo, you heard me say that IESE is... Wait, am I pronouncing it properly?
Well, it's pronounced as IESE.
IESE. Oh, yeah. Wow, okay. You guys forgive me for how I've murdered the name, but yes, you heard me say that IESE is one of my favorite business schools. Do you know why I say that?
I do. I was like, I don't trust you, but
I'm actually being honest. The graduation gown, you guys' graduation gown is insane. I actually love that graduation gown. I've heard mixed reviews, but I actually think it's very,
funny thing is, before graduation, I was like, this graduation, of course, people are always insulting it. But when I wore it, personally, it looked good on me.
Yeah.
So
it looks so different and so good. I'm like, whoever came up with this gown actually had some process, because it's very, non-traditional, right?
Yeah.
And it looked like everyone I saw it on killed it. I'm like, this fine. I really like that. Yeah.
In fact, it's now a bragging right. I really love the gown.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think it's amazing. Yeah, that's one reason I actually really liked IESE. But I think a good place for us to start is kind of the conversation about Discord, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start a bit from your background. So let's talk about the journey. Where did business school come into the conversation? What were you doing pre-MBA? Who was Kofo before thinking of business school?
Just with another degree. Okay. But how did the conversation come to be? Quite frankly, I think I'm going to owe my decision to go into business school to a number of lawyers that had gone ahead of me and sort of made it possible, sort of gave me an idea that this is actually possible. So prior to the influx of a lot of lawyers pursuing MBA, what was typical was always you finish, you do your LLM, which is like masters in law, or maybe masters in policy, or maybe masters in law and finance. Those were like the typical trajectory, right, for lawyers, or maybe a PhD, And so for me, I actually did start applying for my LLM, but I wasn't convinced. I just wasn't convinced that was what I wanted to do next, or that was the next phase for me. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew what I did not want to do. I knew that I didn't want to do an LLM. I didn't know whether it was going to be policy. I didn't know whether it was going to be law and finance. I really did not know what was going to be the next step for me. So when I think during COVID, there was just this sort of explosion of a lot of people going for the MBA, and amongst them were a lot of lawyers who are also my friends. And I'm like, okay, it looks like there's something here, right? There's something about this MBA. Let me start thinking about it and just researching and just seeing what it's about. But it's one thing to see it from a distance. It's another thing for it to be like your friend, your former colleague is doing this thing, and it brings it home. So I had a lot of friends and colleagues that started going, and they were not going to just any schools. They were going to the top business schools in the world, Duke, Oxford, just a lot of all the other schools. So I was like, okay, let me give it a try. And that was how the journey went. I'll be lying if I said that, I thought it through for a number of years before I decided. Okay. No, it was really like, you know what, I want to do this thing this year, and I'm going to do it this year. I just woke up 2023 January or 2022 December. Okay. When you're setting your goals for the year, what do you want to do this following year? This year I want to go to business school. Also, it had to be 2022 because you had to apply and all of this. I want to go to business school 2022. My goals for 2023, and I'm like, okay, let me give it a shot. But I underestimated the work that was going to be involved. I the thing, and it was a good thing, because if I knew beforehand the stress that was going to be involved, I probably would have chickened out.
No, I've done it. Okay.
I probably would have chickened out. So maybe it was a good thing that I was sort of shielded, but yeah.
Well, we're going to get into all of that. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation. Another thing I wanted to explore quickly is, so we know that I think the most popular MBA destinations are either North America, which is like Canada and the US, and then Europe, right?
Yeah.
What was your decision making? How did you choose to go to European Business School versus in North America?
Okay, so again, because I'm a person of faith, a lot of my faith will come up in a conversation. When I made up my mind that I wanted to go to business school, quite frankly, what I heard in my spirit was Europe. Not even Europe, but in my limited mind, I didn't even think IESE or Spain. It was okay, Europe. It was London Business School, and that was it. That was where I set my mind on, and no one could convince me otherwise. However, when the journey started, people made me feel like I was doing something stupid by only focusing on London or Europe, for instance. And everyone's like, oh, America is where the real deal is, America.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not quite convinced. because I know what I heard, but just so it's not as if I did not answer.
Use my
I
sense.
also did explore America. So it's not like I did not explore going to America. But again, like I think God will do what he wants to do. He ordered my steps back to Europe, and that's how I found myself in IESE.
Interesting. And once you decided, I'm going to get an MBA, what was the initial reaction from like your family, your parents, your friends? Because I mean, they had spent all this money sending you to school, you'd become a lawyer working for one of the best firms in Nigeria, and then you come on and say, actually, I want to go back to school and do something entirely different. How did they take that conversation? How was it like?
You know, it's a blessing in disguise when you are a first. So when I mean first, I'm a first gen, first daughter, first lawyer in the family, first. So I feel like I've proven myself over the years and I had built credibility. So when I said I wanted to pursue this, I was like, okay.
You sure want to go so? Like,
I finished uni in 2015. So it was about like 8 years later that I was going for my master's. So I felt it was long overdue as well. But they were very, very supportive. It's like, okay, we don't know what this is about. We cannot support you in terms of giving you resources or material. But you have all the emotional support that you need. We are here for you. So do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, you already had a history of being the first and doing, all the amazing stuff. So they're like, oh, we know if you put your mind to it, you get it done. But whatever it is, just go do it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me personally, when I decided I was going to do an MBA, it took a while for my mom especially to get it right, because at the time moved to England and had only been there for like 2+ years. I was on my third year, I believe. I had 2 more years to qualifying for the UK permanent residency, was working for Deloitte, which is like, the most prestigious Big Four financial services firm in the world. It looked like everything was good. So when I said, yeah, I'm leaving all of these things to go to America as an F1 student, she's like, what are you doing? Well, like, it took her a while, right? Even my uncles, everybody tried to dissuade me. Eventually, they got with the plot, right? But for you personally, was there a moment where you almost didn't go? Like, talk a little about that. Was there any instance like that where you're like,
Of course. Yeah. And I think the first reality check was GRE. You know, the thing is,
the almighty GRE
beings, we always try to look, especially if you are very religious, we always try to look for signs and everything. So I'm laughing, like my laughter is just reminiscing. So I registered for GRE 6 times. I wrote GRE 5 times. And I think after the third one, I was like, it's like God does not want me to go.
Go again, no.
It kept getting progressively bad,
Yeah.
You're supposed to write GRE and improve.
And it should improve.
It was getting progressively bad, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe God doesn't want me to go. Like, if I'm already facing this kind of obstacle, maybe I'm not supposed to go. In fact, I think that was the one time my family was like, but yeah, it's not supposed to happen. And I was also almost believing that maybe it's not supposed to happen. But I think I can't explain what kept me going. And again, it might have been the Holy Spirit, because that's the only. But I finished writing one of those exams. I failed. I went to my friend's house. We ordered ice cream. I took ice cream. My solution to everything in life is ice cream.
Ice cream.
Prayer and ice cream.
Down.
I took ice cream. When I was done, I slept, I woke up, I registered for the next exam. She was looking at me like, hey, is this girl okay? I just registered for the next exam. I said, why am I wallowing in my I failed? Why should I sit down in my failure? Moving on. Because again, like I said, remember I said it was more of, 2022, this is the goal for 2023. I don't know if we'll get to that point in the conversation, talking about maybe things I would have done better. Well, in advising people, I always say, I wish I had dedicated a whole year, like before. So maybe I should have done the GRE in 2021, for instance, or even the 2022. Okay. I should have focused on just doing, 2021, focused on GRE without application, but especially because I was working in like a very high pressure environment. I was super busy. So it was very hard trying to, consolidate working, studying, commuting. You know how Lagos can be. So in hindsight, maybe if I had focused on just my exam first, gotten my score, then, dedicated energy the following year into the actual application process, maybe I would have had a different outcome. I don't know. But that's something I wish I did because I just did not really have that time, and, a lot of late nights, a lot of sleepless nights before I finally got a desired result and all of that and applied. So, that was.
Yeah, I remember now my own application journey, and I know I read the GRE 3 times within like a 6-month period, and it was insane. Like you said, I was working full-time, high-pressure environment. I remember for at least 4 or 5 months nonstop, I would wake up at 7, work my daytime job from 7 to 5. Usually I would work overtime to like 9 usually. But in that period, exactly it's 5, I would stop working and then start studying for GRE from 5 to like 2 a.m. I did that nonstop for like 4 or 5 months to get a score that I thought was decent enough. And the GRE is just, I feel like it's the biggest obstacle to overcome in the MBA process, right?
Yes.
But let's talk about some more obstacles, right? I want to hear the unfiltered application process, right? So all the GRE madness, visa struggles,
and so that's why
writing essays, getting people to review.
That's why I should go to Europe. You probably not really have visa struggles like some other people. So I didn't have visa struggles, and IESE was very helpful. They were supportive. They held our hands through the visa process, put us in touch with the Spanish consulate in Lagos. They got our dates for us. So it wasn't a lot of like, as long as you got your documentation sorted. And Bisola was also very helpful. She helped with the coordination. So she helped facilitate that process as well. So, and because you're doing it in groups, there's this thing, they say misery loves company, hardship loves company. So, because all of you are in that phase together, it was easy. It was easy. It wasn't exactly unlike the US where it's you, God, and whoever is deciding your faith. So it was more relaxing. In terms of the essays, which is why I said I wish I had sort of done my exam 1 year, they now focus on the actual application the following year, because
the next year,
juggling the exams with the application, my God, it was, I think I had experienced that level of stress like the year I was applying in my entire life. Like I blew up because I feel like my cortisol was off the roof and I was seeking solace in chocolates and in Coke, because they said to help your brain. No, apart from stress eating, I heard that to help your brain, chocolate is good.
Chocolate, dark chocolate. I've heard that too.
Because you had dark chocolate share. Me, I was taking dairy milk. That was that dark chocolate. Then because like I don't do well with coffee, like I turned to Coke as like my energy booster. So it was a lot of stress on my body. So it was counterproductive. I felt like if you had even eaten healthier, it should have helped your brain development more. I digress. So I think I put in a lot of work in terms of even just narrowing my schools. I still have those like documents I made then that I still share with people. I had the whole Excel sheets where I had things for different schools. I had everything arranged just to give my brain a semblance of, organization. So I had all of those things in check. The essay, I got help. I did get help. I paid, oh my God, I spent money. I did pay someone to help review my essay. I don't know that it was overly beneficial, in all honesty. And maybe it's the person I worked with. Some people have better outcome. I honestly, I won't recommend the person I worked with. I'm sorry. This is me keeping it real. I didn't, and for a number of reasons, more because it was too impersonal. Like, but anyways, that's not it didn't feel like this person was invested in. I got more benefits from people I did not pay. Do you understand? Like, another thing was, so there was the part stores that I was having to reach out to. So I applied, I don't think I mentioned it. I applied to 9 schools in total, 7 in the US, London Business School in the UK, and IESE.
And then IESE.
And to imagine I had to do the same thing for all 9 schools, reaching out to current students, alumni, attending info sessions, tailoring my essays for all. Like, you can imagine the fact that I'm okay, like you're talking to me in a lucid state, is testament to the fact that God really carried me on that journey. And which is why in hindsight, I really, really wish that I had just listened to my spirit and just applied to what I wanted to apply to. At least I will not have had the stress of the other 7 schools, and it was a lot of mental and having to wait for feedback. Did you get it? Did you get shortlisted? So many things happening all at once. But I think with the essay, right, I believe that once I got one good essay, even if I had to tweak it to different schools, it became easier to keep redrafting and adapting. But the journey to getting that one solid essay, also, lest I forget, I don't know if you remember this, but City of Lane had attached us to mentors.
Yes.
I don't know. And my mentor was fantastic. He really helped me with my essay. In fact, he did better than the person I paid. So he was really, he gave me his time. He helped me with my essay. He helped me with even organizing my CV. He gave me access to his CV mock or this CV. He gave me access to it, reviewed my CV. That was nice. And I think just people in the City of Lane community, which you were one of them, just sort of helped, because we could also cross-review essays. So I would say that if you're going on this journey, I think one of the mistakes many of us make is we don't utilize the resource we have within our arsenal. Exactly. Like the next person on the journey with you is as good of a resource than even the high person you're trying to target. So people, I remember, even in City of Lane was big, but many of us also had many of us also had our smaller clusters, because you've met people, So I had like those smaller, I think we're like 4. Maiwa, Tosin. So we reviewed our essays together. We studied together. So I had all of those resources to help me as well. What else? Of course, trying to also application fee waiver. There was that was also, and a lot of times for you to get that too, you had to attend info sessions. You had to do this, you had to do that. It was a lot of work, right? And I don't mean to scare anyone listening to say, oh my God, this is a lot of work, I'm not applying. No. Once you have, I think it helped me. Like I said, I had like that chart. I had like where I was measuring my success. I'm able to tick off what have I done, have I not done. I think it helped. And again, don't be like me. Yes, it's a game of numbers, quite all right. But sometimes I say, if you start early, then you're able to take advantage of R1 and R2.
Yes.
Especially if you've written your exams and you've forgotten about it. So instead of applying to all 7 schools at once, because both rounds are very good rounds, you can divide it. The hope is that by round 1, you will have your desired outcome. But if you do not have it by then you have round 2 to try again.
Go again. Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to also sort of manage your stress. And because you already know how the process is, you're not starting from the scratch. You're able to just translate the things you had done in R1 to R2, and it's easier. I think you did R1 and R2.
Yes, actually, I was going to say that a lot of the advice that you're giving now, I wish like there was a podcast like this or something like this that I saw before then, because I don't think I took any of your advice. So I actually found City of Lane when I was preparing to apply for round 2, which was after I'd gotten into Duke and some other schools. So I eventually went to Duke, and I'd gotten into Duke in round 1. Round 2 was when I then got to City of Lane, was when I met people and all of these resources were then available. When I was in round 1, I applied to, I think, 4 or 5 schools in round 1. And honestly, I have no idea how I eventually was successful at like 3 of them, because, and I'm not lying. I would write my, like a night before it closed, I would write my essay and click on submit. Like no human being reviewed my essays for me. Like I would finish writing them, click on submit. And I did that for all the first schools in round 1 because I didn't have time, right? Working around the clock, still trying to rewrite GRE. So when I wrote the second GRE, I had a 322 or something. So it was decent enough. I was like, okay, let me use this to try round one. And then I'm going to write for round two. So I wrote again in December to apply for round two. For round one, no time. Right. And that is absolutely the wrong way to approach it. You're going to burn out.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know how I did burn out. Right. And it's the wrong way to approach this process. Right. Exactly what you said. If you can write your GRE a year before you actually want to go to school, that's the best, because the GRE lasts for 5 years, right? So you don't have to write it the year you want to use it. And if you're not worrying about the GRE, the process becomes significantly easier. Right.
And there's something that I want to say. I think many of us really, really, truly underplay the work involved in applying for business school, because applying for business school is atypical of the way you apply for general masters. I think the only thing that compares is a PhD. I think PhD is the only thing
it's a bit rigorous
that compares in terms of the rigor for applying to graduate. But for other masters, it's just essay, really.
One single personal essay for all the schools. It's not the same for MBA. It's not,
MBA.
Everyone has a different question.
There are like 7 data. Apart from the essays, they're like, they keep telling us that there are like 7 data points. So there's the GRE on the one hand, there's your essay, there's your recommendation pack, there's your transcript, there's your CV. So it's and one mistake I see that people make is, many of us hyperfixate on the GRE and we don't put in as much effort into our essays and into our
recommendation
other parts. And if you go on, because I'm a YouTube girly, I always that's almost my first line of action when I'm looking for resources. And if you go there, you see a lot of videos on maybe what not to do or common mistakes people do. And little things like even mixing the names of the schools in your essays, because you're tired, you're this, you're that. So again, PIN it really, really works. And if you go in with the mindset that this is going to take my blood, if you get in there and it takes only your sweat, it's a plus for you.
That's good, right?
But if you go with it to take my sweat, you underplay the process and it will take your blood. So just like have that, like ready, just have that ready thing. Another mistake I think people do is, I think many of us, maybe I might have been guilty in the past, also approach the MBA because it's like a nice to have. Everybody is getting it. To me, so I want an MBA. I speak to a lot of people and I never say, what do you advise? Should I go for an MBA? I never say yes or no. By the time I drill you once, twice about your why, you yourself, you would know that maybe this is not what I need now, or maybe it's not the right time. I feel like I'm one of those people that got lucky. I'm not going to lie. Even like I said, the reason I went for the MBA is not because I knew that, oh my God, is the MBA. It just seemed like, that was the most appealing of all the options I had for graduate schools in terms of what to do next. And even getting there, people came and said, oh, I wanted to do this consulting. Fine. People seem to have figured out what they want to do in life. And I was just there like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
I'm like, what's this consulting? Oh my God, sorry, I don't know what MBB was. So just to show you how clueless, like I literally did not know what MBB, and it's like, how can you be in business school conversation? You know what MBB is. And now, I'm an incoming, staff of M, but I didn't know what M was.
The big M.
I didn't know what M was. So it's all of these things, right? I think the bigger picture is, even if you go in clueless, there's a way for you. That's a lesson. But at the same time, try to get as much information as you want, because the process is going to stress you. I feel some people also had it a little easier. If you have money too, your stress can be reduced though. There's I know some people. Some people worked with a lot of agencies that made the process like admissions consultant that. This one that I'm stressing, my essay this, my essay that. It was easy breezy, but I did not have money. So
some people were also not trying to get admission waivers,
Exactly. So my target audience are people like me that are Nigeria.
You and me.
Please, Ayo, you're not part of us. That are in Nigeria, earning in Naira, and the FX is dealing with us. The truth is, something must give. If your money does not give, your time will give. And when I mean your time, I did a lot of research. I did a lot of research. But someone that got an admissions consultant did not, like, they just helped you. They look at your profile. These are the schools, but like it makes your life easier. So just know what you want, and if you're able to throw money to make your life easier, considerably easier,
why not?
Please take it. Like, don't be a nepo baby in this instance.
So you can sleep early. So you can sleep at 8 p.m. every day.
Early and once you do your GRE early, you will just cruise through the process.
Yeah. Amazing. I feel like we already started talking about things you would do differently if you were to do it again. Are there any other advice that you have before we leave this part of the conversation?
What else? I think I've touched on quite a number.
Yeah.
Again, I know it sounds cliche, but you really, really, really need to know your why you want to go to business school, because I feel like that was what kept me grounded when the process was trying to unalive me. And I just like, you know what? And your why can be very, very flimsy. Hey, it does not have to be grand. Please. I'm not going to come and lie to you and say your why has to be you want to change the world. It's a lie.
Change the world.
Your why can
end
just
world
be
hunger.
Your why can be as little as saying, I want to prove this to myself. But just have a reason or have something that keeps you going. If you're a Christian, I would say have a scripture that keeps you going. Like, even when it doesn't seem like things are moving the way you want it to move, it's those scriptures, those reminders about God's faithfulness that will just keep you in the process. I think apart from that, I think in hindsight, I think I did every other thing that I knew within the limited knowledge and capacity I had at that time.
Yeah. And to your point on knowing your why, right? Like, it's going to get tested at every part of the process. Like, you do an admissions interview for each school. So if you're applying to nice schools like Kofo, you do 9 admissions interviews.
I did not do 9 admissions, so they did not even shortlist me. They did not even give me.
Fair. Okay. But the point is, any number of schools I get invited to interview, you can be sure you get asked why business school. If you're recruiting and you're speaking to 50 firms, 40 out of those 50 would ask you why and you have to believe it. So, like Kofo said, it can be as simple as, this is something I want to prove to myself that I can do, or, I'm trying to change my career and this is a good way to, like, whatever. But you have to have one and you have to believe it, right? But yes, let's move a bit away now and talk about like support that you get from schools when you're applying. I know that when you're applying to schools, a lot of people try to be nice. Admissions committee are kind of nice to you, especially if you have like the profile that they want. Second-year students are like available and things like that. And it's not always like that when you then go to campus. Was there a difference between the kind of support you got while you're applying to IESE and then when you moved to Spain?
Not really. So something I've also come to understand is, I think we take it for granted that, because I'm coming to your school, I reach out to you, or I'm in schools, you have to answer me. When you get to business school, you realize that people are going through a lot. Someone that's looking for a job and that's not gotten one single interview, and not telling the person, I want your support. Like, we have to be we have to be kinder to people. That's what I've come to learn. We have to be kinder to them. But in terms of the support, I don't think it varied, in all honesty. I don't think it varied as much. Of course, there were some times you feel more supported than other times, and there's sometimes you feel less supported. But either ways, there is still support. Even if you don't get it from the person you're asking it from, you'll be sure to get it from another person.
Someone else.
So it's not like you will not be left stranded as long as you open your mouth to ask.
And ask.
You can't assume that the school knows that you're struggling if you don't go and meet them that you're struggling. And IESE will always tell you that they are there to support you. It is not their happiness or joy that you feel or that you don't get your desired outcome. They would support you to the best of their ability. They will link you up with people, and the support is beyond job, even the academic rigor. Like, if you're struggling with a course, they'll be happy to help you. A lot of my accounting courses I passed because of the kindness of other students that took out time to do tutoring. They didn't have to. They genuinely did not have to, but they did. And I mean, weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, we're not paying them. It's a thankless job, but they did anyway. So even if you, like, of course, I will not say I did not have one or two people that maybe they did not respond the way I would like them to respond, but it's nothing personal. It wasn't because they were out to get me or they did not like the food. That's why. No, people were really, really going through stuff. Like, people are going through stuff. And sometimes it's just, they just don't have the capacity to pour into another person at that time. So that's
it. And kind of to what you said, like, everything makes you feel like people are being unkind until you get on campus, and then everything makes you feel like, oh, this is what you were going through. Then you're like, you guys were actually going out of your way to be helpful. So to Kofo's point, there's help available. It might not be from the person you want it to be from, but if you ask long and hard enough, you would find help. But a bit about the less tangible parts of MBA life, right? So how as a domestic student, you can literally go to the schools you want to, or the schools you are considering, go there for like day in the life, attend class, all of that, see if you're going to fit into the community, and just experience what life as a student will be like. A lot of internationals don't have that luxury, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you were able to visit IESE before you moved full time, but okay. So can you speak a bit about that part of it? Where is your school located? Do you like the city? What's the weather like? Like, all the non-tangibles that you've now experienced as a student. What was that like?
We had a virtual day in the life. I know it's not the same, but we had a virtual day in the life just to see. IESE tried.
Okay. They tried.
But in terms of, let me start with the city. So IESE is located in Barcelona. And if you would agree with me, like, if you go online and check it, everybody loves Barcelona. I think,
of course.
The thing is, I know I have not said it, but IESE was not my top choice. IESE was not even my backup. IESE was a school that it was not, in that night I applied to, IESE was not part of it.
For context, people, IESE is currently ranked number 3 in the world by Financial Times. Yeah. So you guys know how insane Kofoworola is. Just continue.
The schools I applied to. Let me not go to the schools. No, but let me just, so the thing is, and that is where information is important. Between me and you, Nigerians are, can you still hear me? I think your camera.
Yes.
Okay. We Nigerians, I'm saying it very boldly, we are very title driven. So typically of the Harvard, of the Wharton, of the Booth. You imagine now, we did some like informal sessions before we went to business schools, and you could see the people that got admissions into those schools working with, you get what I'm saying? So sometimes we get so lost in those big names that we don't even think of the other guys that may not be in the conversation, but they are like top. And one of the reasons why it was like that for IESE, in all fairness, was because they didn't have a lot of Nigerian and African representation.
Yeah.
IESE had the highest number of Nigerians in the history of IESE in the MBA program ever. And still now, I don't know. We're 12. I don't know. The set after did not even have up to 12. I don't know for the incoming class. So just to say that might have been it. So when I finally decided on IESE, I decided on IESE because I had 3 former colleagues at different points in my life that went to IESE. And there was, like I said, the communities you build when you're applying. So one of the people I had interacted with on the journey really, really wanted to go to IESE. So she just kept, why don't you try this? Why don't you? I'm like, hey, where is this located? It says Spain. I say, Spain, K. Cannot speak Spanish now. I'm like, oh no, it's taught in English. I'm like, Spain.
Deal.
Do you understand? Like, so the popular locations were US, Canada, the UK.
Yeah.
Spain just seemed very abstract. But I'm glad that I took that leap of faith. Once I was able to see that, okay, the school is taught in English. Nigerians had gone there, they survived. They not like they themselves are like fluent in Spanish or anything. I can survive. So it was really a leap of faith. Then at that time in my life, I had friends that were schooling in some interesting places in the world. Belgium, this one. Because it's typical places. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I might as well just take the leap of faith And I can tell you in hindsight that I feel like that was one of the best decisions of my life. I really loved the fact that I got to experience living in Spain for 2 years. You can't take that experience. Like Spain, Barcelona is definitely like in my future, is going to be one of those places that will feature in my future. You know, like it's a place I see that I want my family to come in future because, oh, your mom schooled here, you know. It has become like Spain is going to be one of those, in quotes, second countries because I really enjoyed my time. The weather was good. The people were okay. Like they're not bad, to be honest. They were okay. Cost of living is cheap, relatively cheap compared to the US, to the UK. So cost of living was cheap. I think you get value for money. Like you get value for money, you get quality food, quality things, quality health care. Spanish healthcare, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
So that was
it's free, right?
You have your insurance.
You eat? Yes. You have to.
You have your insurance. I cannot speak to plenty things in that one. I'll just say bloody resident. But you have your insurance. And with your insurance, you get good health
Good
care.
health care. Yeah.
There's something else you had asked. I think I forgot to. So you said living in what else?
So living life in Spain. I think that's basically.
So that's it. It was good. Okay. Not to say that it didn't have. Of course, there'll be challenges. The language was really a barrier sometimes. Because Barcelona is highly touristic, so they are used to getting like influx of English speaking people. So you see, they try. Even if they don't try, they'll do their. You see, they try.
Did they do the translators on the phone?
I mean, I do the translators on the phone sometimes. Yeah. I also forgot to mention. So IESE has a Spanish intensive class that occurs 2 weeks before actual school resumes. I did it and it really helped me. It helps me to pick up like little words, move around. I know how to say, I want to order this, I want to order that. I know how to say, excuse me, thank you, good morning. So it really helped me. Of course, Duolingo, a combination of all of those things. Yeah, they did help.
I tried to learn Spanish sometime at some point, and the only words I learned was hola and ¿cómo estás?
You did not try to learn anything. How can that be the only thing you learned in the whole thing?
I mean, when I say I tried, like, just talking to people. Oh, teach me, how do you say this in Spanish? How do you say that in Spanish?
Okay, fair.
Yeah. But that's good to know. At least they make an attempt to.
Yeah, and you can do the Spanish, like you can continue it throughout your. So some people get diplomas after dropped off. Yes, I dropped off because I could not juggle the stress of the MBA with trying to, like, my priorities at that time was not trying to learn the language.
You're not learning Spanish.
Not learning Spanish, but people did it and finished.
And that's the home of Barcelona Football Club, actually. Did you watch any Barcelona?
No,
game?
So currently Camp Nou is under construction, so they didn't do any match in Camp Nou.
For the 2 years?
I think it's even still currently under construction, but I watched a basketball game. I don't know if that counts.
It counts, for sure.
Yeah, I did watch a basketball game, so yeah.
Okay, interesting. And Kofi, a lot of people say that the MBA is a 2-year vacation. Did it feel like a vacation to you?
Well, that thing we say in law, it depends on the circumstances of the case. In this instance, it depends on the person saying it. So for a sponsored student, of course, it's a vacation. Of course. You don't have to worry about recruiting.
Finding a job, yeah.
You don't, and you probably even already have interacted with some of the courses in the course of your work. It's undergraduate, yeah. I love it for you. See, I beef sponsored students. I beef them. But for someone like me, actually me, I'm sitting on the bottom of the food chain. There's the next set of people that someone like Ayo that has, I think, an accounting background or you interacted with numbers. Can be a mini vacation because you don't have to be struggling with accounting, corporate finance, all of those things. At least that one is out. Right. So all you're struggling. In fact, you came for vacation because you did the pre-MBA recruitment. Yes. But even if you did not do it, like even if you had to recruit on campus, the fact that you know one or two things sorts of makes the journey okay. So those are the good things. I used to beef different categories. I used to beef the engineers. I used to beef the
Yes.
People that had finance background. Because I say to them that with a finance background, all the finance courses are like a walk in the park for you. So all you need to struggle with in quote are the non-technicals, like maybe data science, maybe marketing, maybe the other soft ones, ethics, all of those leaderships. The engineers, almost all the operations courses, that's their forte. So what they struggle with is accounting. But because they are good with numbers, it's not really, really, really struggling. I also beef the people that have marketing background because all of the marketing courses is their forte. They will just... Who don't you beef? I beef everybody because now there is me. Remember I said I'm at the bottom of the food chain. There's nothing. I have nothing. I don't have finance. I don't have operations. I don't have marketing. So I had to put in twice the work. Yeah. I had it was crazy, right? And I'm just thinking about it now. You're putting in, and I think people did not appreciate that enough on my behalf. So what's that thing? If they did not praise me, I'll praise myself. Yes. Because I had to learn, I had to interact with everything for the first time, except ethics. Well, one out of many courses. So it was it was really, 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 really difficult, especially in the first year. So when people are like, oh, to work in the park, I'm like, no, who's working? So genuinely, that was some people's experience. It was a walk in the park. You're in the exam, or the exam is 2 hours, 30 minutes, someone just stands up and submitted. You're still trying to make sense of the question in front of you. But like I said, I got a very good help, support. And I also had a very foolish, I don't say very foolish, but I also had a personal goal, which in hindsight, I don't know who sent me. My goal was not to get a C. I didn't want to get an S. It was, I think it was just one of those things, like, it's just a me thing. Like, I'm not to say, I went to the MBA, I didn't get a C, but I had A's and I had B's, and to the glory of God, that was the outcome. But at some point, I was like, oh, this C, let's go and get it. I just want to see you and stay alive. I just want to just pass and just get out. So, like, those were my personal struggles. And if you have a similar background as me, chances are that you would also have those kind of struggles. So yes, those. But does that not mean you get to have the most value for the MBA? Because then you're actually learning everybody. See, the reason why I won't say the most value is because everybody came to the MBA for different reasons. If you came to the MBA for the sole purpose that you wanted to recruit and you got the job you wanted, then you got the most value for yourself. Do you understand? Some people genuinely came, they already said they don't care, they want to get all C's. So if you meet someone like that, you cannot say they did not get the most value if they got what they really wanted to get. I got the most value because I think I was academics were good. To the glory of God, I got the job. And now, to the glory of God, I got the job. So what else is there? What is to achieve? I'm one of the blessed people. That's how I would say it. Not that every other person that is still looking isn't blessed. Everyone's journey is different. I like that. I like that. You know, one culture in America, which I know for sure is not the same in Nigeria. I'm not sure what it's like in Europe, but in Nigeria, we don't have a big emphasis on networking as a way to get jobs. Like when you're applying for a job, you see a role that is open or someone refers you for a role that's open. You apply. If your resume is, up to par and they think you have the qualification, they invite you to interview. If you ace it, you get a job. That's kind of like what it used to be like. In America, it's very different, where they won't even shortlist you for an interview. You haven't spoken to like 10 people in the firm, and if they don't really like you away from your qualifications. What was recruiting like particularly in Europe? And was there a big emphasis on networking? And if there was, then how did you navigate, moving to that kind of environment? It's networking. The thing is, if you recall, I keep telling people that what we did to get admissions that we thought, they were being somehow, is exactly what we needed to do even when we got to business school. So if you pay attention to your admission process and you do it well, you do it by yourself, it's a continuing process. So I remember then I was like, why did we have to do all of these things? Until I got to school, I'm like, I see. That was a dry run. Yeah. Exactly. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. The same way you had to reach out to alumni, talk to them. It's the same thing for the job. Reaching out, knowing the companies you want to apply to, reaching out to the right set of people, asking questions, because those conversations will feed into your cover letter. It'll feed into your interview. You have to name. In fact, there are some jobs that, like you rightly said, if you've not networked, you cannot, like it's a rule of thumb, you cannot get shortlisted. Some other ones are even more forgiving. You shall get shortlisted first, then you will now start the networking process. Some you would not get shortlisted. And indeed, it was a shock because, like you rightly said, it's not typical in Nigeria. In fact, it's almost like if you try to reach out to someone, like this one is Bane. But me, I now encourage everybody, whether you are in Nigeria or not, I would encourage people to approach job search the way we approach it in business school. I think that is how to get some of the most value. Even if you don't get the job, sometimes you just build these connections for life. Right. Yes. So that's how. So it was the same thing. It was the same stress with networking.
Yeah. That's I like the fact that you said that, right? And I think that's great advice. It's uncomfortable when you start, especially as an international who, is not used to doing that. I know the first few times I went to like coffee chats and sip circles, and I wasn't even recruiting, right? But I wanted to practice because I knew I didn't have to do that to get a job because I already had the job. So I would go whenever recruiters come to campus. I would just go just to speak to people and kind of build that muscle. And even at such a low stakes environment, it was still a bit of a struggle. So I can assume that for people who actually needed to get a job, it was more uncomfortable. But like you said, it's one of the best ways to get the most value from the process. And it's a good skill to have, like being able to approach anyone and have conversation is a skill that will serve you throughout your career. So yes, encourage everybody to try that.
Well, let me not lie, it was hard though. Even till now, I don't know that I still like networking. I think networking is one of those really fake it till you make it. Like if sometimes some calls are about to happen, I'm like, God, let this person cancel,
Just cancel.
Because again, you have to psych yourself to have those conversations. You're having the same conversations over and over again.
Over and over.
You're having some conversation and people are already shutting you down, even in the coffee chat. Your value, you are rethinking your value as you're talking to someone. Like, I think I had a very peculiar recruitment experience. Okay, maybe not very peculiar, but I think it was quite peculiar. Again, I'm coming from a non-traditional background. I recruited for a lot of things. And it was always heartbreaking when you want to recruit for VC and they're like, oh, sorry, you don't have the background you're looking for. Like, I just just give me a chance first now.
Right.
I'm in the MBA. I agree that I have some sort of sense, So it was a lot. It was such an emotional ruler. I think that was the toughest part of my MBA. I know I said the academics was tough, but with academics, with the right tools, if you do this, you get a good outcome. With recruitment, there was like, even you could do every single thing right. And I mean, and if you're watching this video and you are in the thick of recruitment and you want to give up, I want to say to you that it's not your fault, right? You could really be doing everything right and you're just not getting the outcome, and it's not on you. It's not on you. Sometimes it's just the job market. Sometimes it's just that, your skill set is just not what is in need at that time. It's not a you thing. And I remember that one of the things that kept me going from all the rejections and all the no's was I told myself that I just wanted to satisfy myself that I did everything I needed to do. And once I got to that stage where I said, Kofo, you have done everything you needed to do. There is nothing more you could have done. I was at peace. Whether or not I got the job, I knew at that point that it wasn't on me. It wasn't for a lack of or for what I could have. I did everything. And that's the phase you need to get to, so that even when you're not getting the job, you're not saying, what if I did not know? Once you satisfied yourself that you've done everything you needed to do with giving the resources you have and the capacity you have at that time. It's okay.
Wow. I feel like there's more stories to unpack in your recruitment journey. Do you want to share a few stories, anecdotes, whatever?
Well, yes, and I'm always happy. I'm always happy to share my recruitment journey because having spoken to a lot of people that are also in that phase, I'm always happy to share. Of course, when I was going through it, I did not want to go through it. I still go that I'm not your strongest soldier. Don't use me as case point. But now that I'm able to share that with other people and encourage them, I'm like, okay, thank God I went Also, thank God I went to the process. I was like, I don't know.
Thank God I survived the process.
Thank God I survived the process. So, like, just some really, really high level. So thankfully, I eventually got internship. I got 2 internships, and they were nothing short of a miracle. I got my internship on the last day of the first year, and the second one a week after the first year ended. So it means throughout year 1, it was no shutdown back. In fact, I even got a rejection on my birthday. How can I wake up in the morning of my birthday?
Wow.
People say my date of birth, anyways, and got
You
a
cannot
rejection.
send it tomorrow.
And it was tough. I think 3 things that comes to mind that made that process tougher. 1, my background. I know that many of us also go to the end because we want to make a triple jump. But the truth is, it's very possible that people have done it, but it's a tough part. It's a
difficult
part. And trust me, a lot of people that came with the mindset that they wanted to make triple jump, many people settled for and jump, double jump, because it's tough. I feel like people
explain what you mean by triple jump.
Triple jump means you want to change function, industry, and geography. So I'm coming from Nigeria, I want to move to the UK. That's 1 jump. I'm coming from law, I want to move to something else. That's the idea. So most people end up settling for, changing geography, but still continuing in the industry they were in.
Yeah.
Retaining geography, but changing functions, those things like that. So I think 1, that was why it was tough. Another reason why I think it was tough was the language. So I think it was tough on the triple jump-ish. 1, my background. My background is in law. Except I was going to go back to a law firm. It means that any role I was going to move in is a totally different role from what I was used to. Law firm or industry, but in the legal capacity. Was a totally different function from what I was used to. If I wanted to change, like, from Nigeria abroad, it was tough because, again, remember, I schooled in Europe, I schooled in Spain. I don't speak Spanish. Chances of landing a job in Spain was sort of slim because I don't have a second language. Most European countries speak languages other than English. So if you do not have that other second language, so be it German, French,
Dutch, something.
So now most of us that are English speaking we're facing the UK and the Middle East, for instance. Think about it. The UK has how many top schools? I don't have it at the back of my mind, but they have a lot of top schools. So you're competing with, so say they have 20 top business schools, and I'm sure the number is more than that. So you are competing with people from 20 different schools in the UK.
In that country,
In the UK. The people in the UK that also have your similar background or that need sponsorship, even without sponsorship, for now, the UK immigration allows them to work for 2 years post school. So think about it. If you're an employer and you have 2 good candidates, similar background, similar strengths and all of that, and you have to sponsor one immediately and you don't have to sponsor the other one immediately, what will you do? Business decision, they will most likely choose the person they don't have to sponsor. So jurisdiction was rigged in my face, me.
Against you,
And I think that was jurisdiction, language. I think the last one, I think I've said it. So there was language, there's jurisdiction, and there was my background. So that made it very, 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 very difficult. But I kept pushing, I kept applying anyways to many, many jobs until one day I sat myself down. What's that thing they say? Common sense sat me down. And I think it was just the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. And I told myself, okay, these are the things that I'm seeing that are not working in my favor. Why am I pursuing something that is hell-bent on getting away from me? Why don't I just shift course and look to Africa? Like, it's not, again, yes, when I was going to business school, I was hopeful that, I get the opportunity to work abroad, but I wasn't going to business school with the mindset to japa. And I'm going to put it out there. And I think that was what also made choosing IESE easy for me, knowing that I may not jackpot. I wasn't going to jackpot. Like, if it came, yes. Like,
fine.
No, let me use the word jackpot. If relocation came as part of my business school package, all well and good, but it wasn't a do or die affair. And I think reaching that point made it easy for me to recalibrate my expectations and recalibrate. Remember, I'm fighting a lot of demons. So I could be with a Nigerian and the other Nigerian will have a better outcome just because the Nigerian has a finance background. So the person is not doing a triple jump. Do you understand? So I just needed to understand my peculiarities. Again, this is personal to me. So I doubled down and said, you know what? Let me look to the African continent. It's not really Africa. I don't mind. And that's what I did. So where everyone was facing this way, me, I just did about thought. I started facing this way and I started applying the other way, started applying to Africa. Not to say that that made the process any easier. No, if anything, it was tougher seeing that even your fellow African countries don't want you. Sucks. But I feel like that also helped me because opportunities that people shied away from or scoffed at, I didn't mind. I applied anyways. And those were the opportunities that I got eventually, to the glory of God. So it was tough. It was very, very tough. I think it was this lady, Iyamu, I don't remember. And I think
I know her on LinkedIn.
Yes, on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
She shared something called was it a rejections list or something, a rejections file. So I think I downloaded it and I did my own. I think after I had applied to this, it 200th company or 200 and something company. I just had that and I just started crying.
200th.
God, where will they answer me? And I got, in all of that, I only got five
interviews?
5 or 4. I think 5 interviews in total.
And you landed 3 of those.
I got to the final for 1 and I landed 2. But it was at the very end. And even the ones I landed, in fact, truthfully speaking, the 3 interviews I landed, only 1 of the 3 were the normal recruitment pipeline, there's an application, and that was the IFC one. The other 2 were not your typical interview. It was more of, in fact, I was on a WhatsApp group for Africans, just say in Africa, and someone had put the job opening. I didn't know it was a CEO. I'm saying it slow. I just sent a WhatsApp DM. What this thing? I just sent my CV. Very rude. I just sent my CV on WhatsApp. Right. Of course, there was a lot of process. I know a lot of people that also did the interview, but again, like I said, my journey was God. There are a lot of things I want to say that I can't really say on the podcast. I can say it to you offline, but I can't. And if anybody wants to reach out to me personally, because I don't know where this podcast is going to go. But it was really, I promise you, it wasn't, like I said, at the beginning, I said, I have done everything I needed to do. Yeah. At this stage, it wasn't anything I could do anymore. It was just God taking the wheel. I did all my interview, the one that I got to the final stage and the 2 I finally got, I did all of them in the same week. That was the last week of the first year. So I had it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I had interviews every day and I was very ill. The interviewers could see me sick and they're like, do you want to reschedule? I say reschedule. Okay. Do you know how long I've been waiting? We will do it. So yeah, and thank God, I had that good outcome. But even before I got there, the journey was hard. It took tears. It was a lot of things. And which is why, again, if you're a person of faith, I don't think you can go to the MBA without God. You need, because like I said, I wish there were so many things I could say, but we have to keep it.
Say, assume that nobody's going to hear this.
English, you won't be able to say it well, but there were days where I'm like, God, why did you send me here? Why am I here? It didn't seem like the land was being fruitful for me, if you get what I mean. It was, I remember, because I remember I said I really wanted to go to London Business School. That was the dream school for me. And I had days where I was like, God, it's your fault. If I'd gone to London Business School now, I won't have to be stressing about, what's it called? About sponsorship. I'd have gotten the job. Yeah. So many things like that. But again, God is God. And He would always confound our wisdom, and so that He will show you that He's God, which is why I said even the internships I got were such that I could not ascribe it to anything I did or did not do. It was purely Him taking the wheel. It was totally Him taking the wheel. And so those internships did not retain me because they were really project based, but they were good. They were good money. Anyways, so then the full-time recruitment came. Now I had applied for So McKinsey was one of the ones I did during internship. I got to the final round, but I didn't get in. And I was done. Like, I don't know if people know how consulting recruitment is, but it's also one of those atypical processes that defy normal process. It's tough. It's an arduous process. And I was so sure that I did not want to go through that process again because I was done. Like, I was over it. I just wanted to just go through my second year, like just go through it, and I was over the process.
Give me my certificate. Let me leave
and
this
let me
place.
just go. Like, I remember Bisola said that in the first or the second year, I used to float. I used to look as if I was not there because I was like, I was done. Like, the first year, I was so burnt out. And I resumed my internship, like, first year ended this Friday. My internship resumed on Monday. And my second internship ended. So I was done. I was burnt out. Like, all this one that people were seeing me traveling. Sometimes I would travel and I would sleep throughout. Like, you see me, I'm in Paris, but I'm sleeping in Paris.
You're just sleeping.
I'm just sleeping. I may be there for 4 days. Now one day I will go out. That's why you see the pictures. But the other 3 days, I'm not kidding. I'm sleeping throughout because I was that exhausted. And when full-time recruitment came, again, thank God I listened to the voice of wisdom. My friend kept saying, just give it a try. I'm like, the rest they said is history. And here we are. And it just, it worked out. There are a lot of things under G things for...
I know. I'm just so grateful that you were very honest about this conversation because, it's easy to just go on LinkedIn and just see, oh, Kofoworola Toriola, oh, she worked at IFC and then McKinsey, like, oh, stellar profile, right? And people don't know how long it took to get there, right? And
how
I feel
long
your story just...
And the work.
Yeah.
I mean, the work. Yeah. I know I'm repeating the work because I'm repeating it and I'm reminding myself, like, even trying to prepare for the interview.
Yeah. I mean, if the only thing... No, go on.
I think, like, I still have my prep sheet that I give people sometimes, like, and they see how I'm like, your book can't, which is why I get frustrated with friends or people that are applying for jobs, and I'm asking them one or two questions, and they're like, oh, I've not done it. I'm like, I'm confused. Knowing in quote, the effort I put into preparing for interviews in general, I'm shocked. I flag a back that you're batting, that you've not done something. Like, how? So, flogs, whatever. All the words led to GRE.
All the words.
Atibebelo.
Then,
Well,
I was just going to say, like, even if the only thing one had to do was applying to 200 companies is insane work. And like you said, those are 200 companies that sometimes do very different things. Like, preparation for consulting is a very different game from preparing for banking or for tech. Honestly, combining that with school, where you were taking courses that you had no background in, you are the OG, you are the real G. And I just like how honest
I know
this
that people had it
was.
worse than me, but thank God.
Yeah, and I'm just very happy that, your outcomes justified all of the work, right? But while we're still speaking, when I got to the US, I'd moved to England before, and I feel like I didn't really understand the impact of moving to a different country because, like, a lot of my family lives in England. When I moved to England, my mom was actually there at the time, so I went to meet her. My sister lives there. I have more family in England than in Nigeria. So it felt like home. I didn't really get that feeling of being out in the water. But when I moved to the US, one of the first feelings that I had was I felt like a very tiny piece of a very big machine. And it just took a while to feel like my being there had a purpose or I could contribute anything or, did you have any feelings like that?
Frankly, no. Not because I knew anybody in Spain or anything, but I think that in fairness to the Nigerian community, I think we had tried to build some sort of relationship even whilst we were in Nigeria before we moved. And my flatmates were Nigerian. I was not meeting with the Nigerians for the first time in Spain, which may not have been your case for Duke. Jonathan, many of us were moving from Nigeria. So we had formed the connection. We had dinners in Lagos. we did, like I said, we did our visa process together. So it didn't seem like I was moving to a new country with strangers. It seemed like I was moving to a new country with friends. Of course, we got to learn more about each other in living and in, understanding ourselves. But that support was there. Like, it was really there from the beginning. I think that made the process easy. Then I keep saying that I don't record that I had a month in Spain where I didn't have a friend or family over. As in, either I had them over or I was the one visiting.
You were going there.
So I felt like at almost every point I was surrounded by love, right? So it didn't seem lonely. Yes, there will be moments where you feel like you are alone because everyone's trajectory is very different. Like, you can be in the midst of people but still be alone. Yes, there were moments like that. But I don't think it was the same as what you felt in essence.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for me, I mean, I moved from England here. A lot of, there were conversations and fireside chats where I would meet Africans moving from Nigeria and other countries, but I really didn't meet anyone in person until I came here, and it took a while to like find your people, see who you vibe with and who you don't. So yeah, I see how that could have been a bit different. Eventually, I had a great experience. Those initial 2-3 weeks were a bit tough. But one more thing I wanted us to touch on is, so you were going through this insane recruitment process, trying to survive academics, and then you were co-president of the ABC. Talk a bit about your ABC experience, co-presidentship, and how you were able to like combine that with everything else.
In fairness, I think the co-presidency came when the worst was over.
Okay.
Because, it's the second year that you get to be a president.
Yeah.
As a second year, it was just purely electives in IESE.
Yeah.
So I could manage my courses. Yes, I still took some tough courses because I wanted to have a finance concentration, which I did. But it wasn't as bad as the first year. By then, you putting into the system and all of that. So it was pretty okay. And I got McKinsey pretty early. So I had stopped as of November. I was done recruiting. Yeah. As of November.
Okay.
Ending of November, sort of. I was done recruiting, so I had the rest of the time to actually be co-president, and I had good support. Bella was a very good support. She was also the second co-president. So it wasn't so tough, right? It wasn't so tough, and I think one of the things that helped us too was we did not deceive ourselves into having 1 million and one goals we wanted to achieve. I think that's the problem or a mistake people made. For me, I said, if all we achieved were A, B, C, the measure of success may not be as apparent to other people, but that was my own measure of success, and that was fine by me. Do you understand? And I think we were able to do that, and that helped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it just goes to say that it's difficult to do all of these things, but it's possible. And Kofo is a living example of that, right?
Stop. I please, I beg.
Kofo, you don't know how much respect I have for you. Honestly, I have a ton of respect for you. Okay. Let's talk about it offline. Okay, we'll talk about it offline. Tell me, Kofo, does IESE use the case method?
Oh, yes, they do.
Interesting.
And I really enjoyed it.
Some class experiences, code calls, things like that.
I never got code called, interestingly.
Oh, interesting.
IESE really, really emphasizes on class participation. So you have to read your cases so that you can participate, so that you can pass for a lot of the courses. At the beginning, it was so tough. So with a cohort of 350 subdivided into 70, so into 5 classes of 70 each, so called sections. So a 70 in your section. You're in a section and like I said, first of all, I already felt like I did not belong in the room, because what's this bloody lawyer coming to do in the class where there are people that have been crunching numbers all their lives, people that have been doing this. So at the beginning, it was quite overwhelming. It was very overwhelming. On two, I mean, the Nigerian education system did not encourage a lot of class discussions, if you get what I mean.
Yes.
We tried. I went to Babcock, and yes, there were some classes like that, but it wasn't the norm, right? law school too, they did try, but who were 1,000 in my class, please. So it
Hmm.
wasn't the norm. So it was uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Work did help a bit because, because of my work, I've had to speak up.
You work
But it's
in
not the same
teams,
thing. Like, all of you are lawyers together, But you are in a class, like, you're in what's the word? You're in the presence of greatness, brilliance. I don't even understand.
Academic royalty.
I don't even understand what I'm reading. How do I want to translate it in the class? Some of the times go on because we're doing 3 cases a day, And so it was a lot of, you had to. So, but I think after the first 1 or 2 weeks where you've had time to observe what was going on, then it sort of became easier. All you just need to do is raise your hand. And when you now realize that these people are not, I'm so sorry, but it's smart, but like, they're not smarter than you,
Yeah.
Someone says a comment, and even you're like,
maybe that does not fly, but okay.
It's off point. So you're like, if people can say these things confidently
too,
you know what you want to say. What you want to say makes sense.
Actually, makes sense.
I think the thing is, I'm sorry, I remember that in the MBA, I told myself, Kofo, you need the audacity of a Caucasian. You need that audacity, especially of Americans.
Yes,
an American will sell this bottle to you. And maybe I'm generalizing.
Straight face too.
Will tell you that this water is wine and you buy it. Because of the way they would like, they just speak the English. You will finish buying it. You don't realize I don't understand what the person was telling you. So I'm like, you know what? This is why my second year I was more like, because I'm like,
audacious.
I'll say some things that audacious that in the first year I will not say, but I'll tell myself, my fellow classmates will say it and it will fly. Why can't I say it? I'll just say it. And people will laugh. I'm like, oh, you say, I said it, will laugh, things
Moving
like
on.
that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So it took a while, but I eventually got the hang of it. That's the speaking in class, reading the cases, being able to interact, being able to respectfully disagree, respectfully air your opinions. It may be, like I said, it may be tough in the beginning, but you get a hang of it. Once you what's that thing? You have to just keep doing it afraid. Sometimes I'm answering questions in class, and if you touch my leg, you can be shocked from the vibration of the scare. It's shaking, but you just maintain the like really faking it till you make it. Then we did. I don't know how it was in Duke, but yesterday we had I think a week or 2 weeks of a course called communication, where you are learning how to give speeches, how to speak. So you had to do that, face your fear, speak in front of a class. So I think all of those things also sort of made it manageable and that. Yeah. And once you just realize that you know as much as the next person, it makes it easy.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think we also had the communications. It was elective and I chose not to do it. Maybe I should have. But yeah, I know there was something like that. And to your point, like the whole point is, I guess the biggest lesson from doing something as audacious as getting an MBA is just learning to do it afraid, right?
Exactly.
A lot of things you're doing, you're shaking in your boots, but you get it done. And most times you're the only one who knows that you did it afraid. Every other person is just saying, oh, that was a great point. And you're like, I almost didn't say that.
I love the way you speak. You're so confident.
Exactly.
You don't know.
If you knew.
You don't know.
Exactly. But my final official question to you is this. Now,
so do you have an official question?
Yes, I have 2 unofficial questions to you. But the final official one is this. Knowing everything that you now know about the MBA, do you have made the same decision to get it?
Absolutely. I feel like someone asked me this question recently and I said the same thing. Absolutely. Getting an MBA is one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. I enjoyed it.
Amazing.
Yes, I said it was rigorous, no doubt. But I am also one of those people that thrive in, that rigor. I enjoyed it. The people, the learnings, oh my gosh. And guess what? What I liked most about the MBA experience was not necessarily the classroom experiences or even the job. I think MBA, my time at the MBA just gave me a chance to morph into a wholesome individual. I don't know if that makes any sense. I learned a lot about myself, my person, my temperament, my how I'm able to relate to people. I realized that, I'm not as nice as I thought I was. No, for real. I'm not, how you think you are the best things in sliced bread.
It's humbling
to see that, you're not as fantastic as you think you are, but what's the lesson?
So you're not a
that?
shitty person,
You're not a shitty person. How can you be better? How can you be a better person? How can you be a better manager? How can you live with people? How can you even see people? Like, MBA is really life. It's really real world. You learn to be with teams. You learn to manage people, manage relationships, manage expectations. One of the most humbling things about the MBA for me, I told someone that I think I'm used to being a star girl, not in like from where I'm coming from, or I'm not the first class student or best two in class, but if you say top 10, I'll be there. If at work, you're just one of those star persons. But you get to the MBA, I'm like, if let's say this star,
you are one of 500 people.
And like this star ended in Nigeria, like it was so humbling. I'm seeing how to thrive in that international environment. And I think one of the things that I've taken out of the MBA now, I tell myself every day that my competition is not local, it's global. And that's how I operate now as a person. I am not competing with the next person in Nigeria. You're too small of a competition for me. No offense. My competition is global. I want to be able to compete with the next person in the next country, in the next country. So those are the kind of learnings that I have taken out of the process. Even just being bolder, just being able to be more assertive, to go for what I want unapologetically. And I think it started from even the application process. It doesn't make sense that you would write the GRE like 6. It doesn't make sense. It really does not make sense to anybody. Right. It doesn't make sense that I did not give up. Like, sometimes I say, it doesn't make sense. But, it's just that I didn't even know that I was as tenacious as that. So all of those things are part of the learnings that I have gotten, and just knowing that I can do it. If I put my mind to it, all the courses I passed, they were not without. I remember one of my most humbling first course in the first semester of the first year, decision analysis. I thought, like, I was so sure I was going to fail. I was so sure. Like, I just could not make sense. But knowing that if you apply yourself just a little bit more, speaking to the right people, opening up about your struggles just a little bit, Like, so now I think like there's really nothing I want. Even if I don't know it today, I tell someone, even if I don't know this thing now, I will know it before I need it.
I need to do it.
I need to do it. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And that's amazing. One, amazing introspection, but also, just what you said about learning about yourself, learning to apply yourself, but also push yourself beyond comfortable boundaries. It's one of the recurring feedback that I've heard from people around, what the MBA teaches. And like you said, no matter how many podcasts you watch or how many videos you watch, there's nothing that beats being in the middle of it. Yeah, you can hear that it's a very tough experience, but it's still going to shock you. But I've not met a single person who has gone through the MBA and has said, I wish I didn't do it. Eventually, even if you don't get the job or the employment outcomes that you want, you learn so much about yourself, so much about how you work, how you show up in the world, that the experience is always worth it. I'm not sure if it's going to be worth paying $200,000, but it's going to be worth something.
Come to IESE. I will to charge $200,000. So.
They need to pay you for this advert. They need to pay you for this advert. But yeah, this was amazing. I have 2 unofficial questions for you. One is, tell me one thing that you've learned about your school that one has to go to IESE to learn. So it can be as simple as, you found a restaurant or a part of the building, or something about your school that it's not, you won't see online, or you won't see in the papers or something.
If you visit IESE's website and you see our graduation gown, we come off as we're very serious, like these people are very serious. IESE students like to party. They like to have fun. Like, I think that a definition of work hard and play the hardest, not even play harder. They love having fun. Another thing is, the pictures of the school can be very deceiving because it just looks like, it's just because, unlike Duke or Harvard, that, the business school is on the university campus. IESE is, so the university is in Navarra. It's a different state in Spain. And, IESE is in Barcelona. So it looks small. It just keeps going down. it keeps going down.
It has not finished.
Yeah, it's bigger than it looks. And you can get lost. Like you can legit get lost on campus at least. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And my final question is, tell me something, besides your profile, everything you said about, all the amazing work you do and things, something else that you're involved in aside work, aside career. I know you have a podcast. I don't know if you still have it, but when I met you, you had a podcast with one of your friends. Whether that or something else, tell me something else you're involved in, your hobby, something you're interested in.
Okay, there's something else I'll say that not a lot of people know about me, and it's so I sort of, I won't say run an NGO that partners with the Social Services Department of Lagos State Teaching Hospitals to provide like financial aids to indigents. So we work with their social workers. I would provide financial aids and fund. And it's been running for almost 3-4 years now. It's not something that I put out there. It's very, those that know, it's a very small part of my life that I sort of guard. I don't know why, but it's just that tiny. So yeah, I felt more like talking about it in more recent times. But yeah, that's something that I do. But on the not so serious side, I've really picked up cooking a lot lately. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Chef. Okay.
I may be okay, chef. I just really enjoy cooking and eating my own food. To be fair, I cooked more in the last 2 years being in Barcelona, and I cooked in my entire life, even when I was in Lagos.
Interesting. I know I need to visit Barcelona soon.
If you visit, I'm not there now.
I'll come to Lagos. Wherever you are, I'll visit. I'll come and taste that
I did
food
for you.
Yeah, it was really good to have you on the podcast, and I just really want to thank you for making the time to be here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Final question before you go.
You said
where can people find you if they want to connect? I should have added that.
Nobody should look for me, please. Okay. So I'm on LinkedIn, where we pretend to be serious. I really don't like LinkedIn. Serious. I really don't like it because you guys are too serious. But yeah, my full name on LinkedIn is Kofoworola Toriola. My full name. I'm also on Instagram, like the real, where you see the real me. Instagram. TikTok, Twitter, and my name across all platforms are at Dear Kofoworola. So across all the other platforms, that's my name. Manage your expectation.
And if you want to read, you're fun online. We know. I like seeing your status on WhatsApp.
I'm about to be serious. I'm resuming work.
Okay. There's that. Fair. But if anyone wants to get a copy of Kofo's book, Love Notes, it's on Amazon, right?
It's on Amazon, and it's also in Moving Heights for people in Nigeria. It's on Amazon for the diaspora people. Please buy a copy. Buy for your friends.
I'm going to be leaving links in the description. Yeah.
Thank you. Buy for your friends. Read drop a review. Send me. I really like it. Always brightens up my day when someone reads my book and sends me a review. So please, I'm going to be working now. Allow me to be able to relax to reading your reviews about my book.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you again, Kofo, for being here.
Thank you, Ayo, for having me.
Yeah. And this wraps up this episode. See you guys in another episode of the Business 101 podcast.
Toodles.